Well, work is on. Wonder what the future of Lagos would look like. I hope we can all get a slice of it, But we're still in the month of March, and you know that we've been doing this every 2, 3 times in a week, at least until the month of March ends. We're celebrating women. This time, we're coming from the perspective of some findings by Bill and Melinda Gates, and of course they're working with WIMBIZ right here in Nigeria. So there you have it, some facts on Nigerian women, that 34% of Nigerian women want to own or expand their business, but funding is a barrier. 62% of women say funding or lack of startup capital is the primary obstacle to achieving their business goals. I wonder if the men would say that also. In agriculture, women produce 70% of the food, but receive less than 10% of SME loans. Nigerian women are more likely than women anywhere else in the world to start a small business. And we see that it's very obvious if you look around you in Nigeria. Nigerian women have a loan repayment rate of about 95%. Well, trustworthiness, I guess that's it. So why does it seem still difficult for women to access funds if they have this 95% of repayment? They're running most of the small businesses in agriculture. They produce majority of the food that we eat. What have the women done, or what have they not done, I guess, should be another question. Well, let's discuss that with the Executive Director of WIMBIZ, that's Women in Business. Ms. Omoumi Akingbongbe joins us here in the studio. Good morning and welcome to the program.
Good morning, Amy. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so since, you're a group, talking about WIMBIZ now, a group of women in business, so you interact and have lots of conversations about women and with women, even the men, so we saw those numbers. If we could have that slide again. Okay, we have it here. So 34% of women face funding barrier, 62 say, and yet in agriculture, women produce 70% of the food, but receive 10% of SME loans, and yet they have repayment rate of 95. Is it that the women have missed something out?
Well, I think it's a two-way traffic on the side of the women, as well as institutions responsible for dispensing of these loans. And to also buttress the facts of these statistics, I worked in the banking industry for about 18 years, and I led some women banking initiatives prior to then. And these statistics are real. I had been a part of researches that showed that even in the banking institution, the volume of loans given to women, when you look at the data, is low, very low compared to what it is for the global view. Now, in terms of these financial institutions, if there are certain gender-friendly policies that would drive energy and attention towards this gap that exists, creating awareness and creating dedicated funds for women, it would help improve things.
What would be different? Because, men do not need those extra attention. A loan requirement is a loan requirement, right? Are there things that stop women from meeting up those requirements, or is it a matter of sentiment with the financial institutions?
This issue of sentiments, I've had a lot of people come to me about such conversations. Now, there are some social barriers that automatically would limit women. If you look at the requirements for some of these facilities, first you have to present some sort of collateral. Collateral sometimes could even mean landed properties. Go back again and check the percentage of women that actually have landed properties in Nigeria, less than 10%. So there's that limitation already. And we've had this go on so long, this disparity go on so long, that it begins to look like the norm. So you only tend to show up sometimes even for things that you're exposed to. So if I feel I don't stand a chance of even accessing these loans, I would not even bother applying. There's so many things demanding for the time of a woman. So even if you look at the volume of women that apply for these loans is low. then, knowing that they cannot meet up with these requirements, they tend to just look at alternative channels of getting these funds.
Which limits them to the small businesses and,
Exactly.
and just, you know, like the
always in survival mode.
Exactly.
Not in a scalable
So that would
platform.
mean that having these special loans for women should consider what collateral would mean, you know, and on things like that.
Yes, so the requirements should focus on the societal barriers that these women face and other limitations that they have, and creatively and innovatively come up with even, I mean, you definitely want your loan to be secured. It's even a requirement, the shareholders' funds, but come up with creative ways that would speak to the reality of a woman and streamline those requirements to suit them. And of course, when you have those gender-friendly policies in place, creating awareness that a certain percentage of these funds that we have to give out as loans is dedicated to women, then I know I stand a chance.
So what would that look like? Thank God you've been in the banking, you know, you spent almost 2 decades there, according to you. So what would it look like? What would the creative, innovative package look like for women, looking at the realities of Nigeria?
Well, I made a reference to the issue of providing collaterals and all stuff. So there are instances where, I mean, you probably have a value chain already for your business. Are there other metrics we could put in place instead of saying, oh, I'll disburse funds to you directly? Can I come in at the end knowing that way I still have some sort of security in place? Are there other alternative sources that I could check in terms of these requirements? Can I reduce the interest rate? So that knowing that, I mean, there are so many barriers that if we even want to go into the issue of the unpaid care work that the woman would normally still deal with and all of that. So factoring all of that, and it's not a one-size-fits-all. It has to be a forum where people are coming together, listening to these women, to know what are these barriers and come up with creative means to address such.
And good enough, we have a growing number of women heading banks now. So, I mean, we would expect that these creative and innovative ways that are personalized, since they are women, I know, of course, as you noted, they still have the shareholders' funds to protect. But if you have 95% of repayment rates for women, that, I mean, that alone should make you have enough confidence, you know, to create some of these products.
And interesting that you mentioned the female CEOs in the banks, and I'd like to just go back down history line on how we even got there. Now, the CBN put in place the sustainable banking principles, which insisted that banks should have a certain percentage of female CEOs and even in their board positions. Go back 10 years before that policy was in place. That was not the situation. We hardly had this volume of female CEOs in the banking industry. And that buttresses the fact that when we create friendly, gender-friendly policies, it helps with driving the numbers. The competent women that are the CEOs today, they've always been there. But because of that policy, there was an attention, a spotlight to then look within and focus on the capable women in the industry.
We hope to see more women at the top there, but not just there, but I guess once they are there, they should be able to push for more policies that can bring more women up the ladder. Maybe not even the CEO, but, you know, the boardroom should have more color than we presently have.
I mean, without undermining the efforts at all, I mean, conversations, efforts are being made. We see more banks coming up with dedicated initiatives and even funds for women. But we want more. There is need to accelerate action, and the female CEOs cannot do it alone. We need all stakeholders to be on board and support such initiatives.
I hope it doesn't end, the conversation will not end in March.
Oh.
The accelerated action will not end in March. But we know that WIMBIZ is also very busy. You try to push for the voice of women out there. about 2 weeks or so ago, we had Mrs. Awoshika, and I asked her that, I mean, we have this program every weekday. We have another one at 1 p.m. every weekday. You can count on one hand how many times we've hosted women. And it's not because we don't want women, but it seems women, well, there's a lot of demand. I'm a woman, I can say firsthand, but are we doing enough as women to really let our voices be heard?
You know, the journey to gender parity, according to the World Economic Forum, they say it will still take another 130 years, despite all that is still ongoing. And that's why there's that need to accelerate action. Women have to step out more. Women have to, I mean, their leadership roles, like I said, sometimes people just don't even bother because they feel they don't stand a chance. But we have to keep pushing, accelerate action, bring all stakeholders on board, and let everybody come together under one voice. So the journey definitely continues apart from the month of March. It's an ongoing drive. And at WIMBIZ, we're passionate about advocacy, talking about all of these things, because the problem known is half solved, as well as mentorship. So women, if you're already up there, despite all the demands, handhold another woman to support them. Let them not have to go through the same long road that you did. Help them cut the road shorter. So the conversation definitely will continue. And I do celebrate what you do too, of giving this kind of forum for women to be heard.